There are moments in life that are so rare, so powerful, that they split reality in half. Moments where time stands still, the air becomes electric, and every part of your being feels awake for the first time. One of those moments, perhaps the most sacred of all, is when you meet a true chosen one. Not someone who claims to be special. Not someone putting on a performance of spirituality. But someone who is, at their very core, aligned with the higher realms, tuned into frequencies most of us can't yet perceive. A being who doesn't just talk about truth, but embodies it. And when you encounter such a person, something in you shifts instantly. Your vibration, your energy, your awareness, everything changes, whether you realize it or not. You walk away from the encounter feeling like you've touched the edge of something infinite. And nothing in your life is ever the same again. Let me ask you, have you ever met someone and instantly felt different? Lighter, clearer, or even shaken to your core, as if they saw through the layers you hide from the world? Maybe your heart started racing, or tears welled up in your eyes for no logical reason. Maybe you felt uncomfortable, exposed, even though they hadn't said a word. Or perhaps you felt more peaceful than you've ever felt in your life, like all the chaos inside of you was suddenly silenced. That's what happens when you cross paths with a true chosen one. It's not about words. It's about frequency. They are the message. And your entire energetic system feels it. Here's what most people don't understand. Energy never lies. We can say the right things, pretend, even fool ourselves, but our energy is truth. And when a chosen one walks into a room, they don't need to speak. Their presence speaks volumes. Your body feels it first. Your heart responds. Your mind becomes alert. Your intuition activates. This is because their vibration is radically different from the average person's. It's aligned, coherent, and deeply connected to the source. When you're around them, your own energy field begins to sync up, trying to match that higher frequency. And in that process, your vibration rises or resists.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let's go deeper, because this isn't just spiritual fluff. This is spiritual physics. Think of it like tuning forks. If you strike one tuning fork and bring it close to another, the second fork begins to vibrate at the same frequency. That's resonance. The same thing happens with people. When you meet a chosen one, their field is so strong, so pure, that your field begins to adjust. If you're ready, it elevates you. If you're holding on to resistance, fear, ego, it exposes it. That's why some people feel bliss in their presence, and others feel triggered. The vibration doesn't just uplift, it reveals. It's a mirror, showing you where you're aligned and where you're not. But here's the profound part. That vibrational shift is not temporary. It plants a seed. Once you've touched that level of frequency, you can't forget it. It lingers in your system, calling you to rise, to evolve, to become more of who you truly are. The chosen one doesn't just change your energy, they activate something in you that may have been dormant for lifetimes. An ancient memory, a knowing, a calling. And from that point forward, you're no longer the same. You can't go back to sleep. Your soul has tasted something real. And now it wants more. I've seen this again and again. People meet a chosen one, and suddenly their life takes a radical turn. They leave toxic jobs, end relationships that no longer serve them, start creating, healing, growing. Not because they were told to, but because their vibration shifted. They no longer resonate with lower frequencies, and they feel it. That's the gift and the challenge of meeting a true chosen one. Your old life becomes uncomfortable. The illusions, the distractions, the masks, they start to fall away. And you're left with one question. Now that I know what's possible, will I rise to meet it or fall back into the familiar? This is the turning point. Because the chosen one doesn't come to save you. They come to remind you that the same power, the same light, the same potential, they exist within you. They're not special in the way society defines it. They are special because they chose to remember who they are, and you can too. Their presence is an invitation, a wake-up call, a doorway. Will you walk through it? Let's talk about what really happens to your vibration when you meet them. First, there's a clearing. Their frequency acts like a tuning fork, shaking loose the lower vibrations you've been carrying. Old fears, doubts, limiting beliefs, they start to rise to the surface. This can feel emotional, even chaotic. That's normal. It's a purification. Then, there's an expansion. You begin to feel more alive. Your senses sharpen. Your awareness increases. Synchronicities start happening. Insights flow. You're being pulled into a higher state of being, not by force, but by resonance. And then comes the recognition. A deep inner knowing that you've met before. Not in this life, maybe, but in another realm, another time. Chosen ones often carry ancient soul contracts with those they meet, agreements made in the higher planes to assist, to guide, to awaken. That's why their presence feels familiar. It's soul recognition, and that's why the impact is so profound. But here's the most beautiful part. This change in vibration doesn't stop when they leave. It continues, unfolds, deepens, like ripples in a pond. You start to see the world differently, hear the guidance more clearly, feel the call to your own purpose more strongly. And slowly, you become a chosen one for others. Your light awakens their light. Your presence uplifts their presence. That's how the chain continues. That's how the world changes, not through force, but through frequency. Let me ask you a question that only your soul can answer. If you knew that you are one meeting, one moment, one vibration away from unlocking your destiny, would you open your heart to it, or would you run? Because it's not about them. It's about you. You meeting you. You seeing your own power reflected back at you through their presence. That's the real shift. That's the real miracle. There is something that happens when two frequencies collide, one elevated and awakened, the other on the verge of remembering itself. It's beyond language, beyond understanding, beyond the limits of what we've been taught reality is supposed to be. It is a transfer of energy so ancient and so sacred that when it happens, you know in your bones that you've just stepped into a greater dimension of existence. This is the hidden force at work when you meet a true chosen one. What actually occurs is not simply a meeting, not merely a conversation or exchange. It is an energy transfer. It is one soul, fully ignited, triggering the latent power of another, like a flame lighting another flame. And in that moment, Your soul awakens in ways that no book, no teaching, no theory ever could. The chosen ones carry frequencies that are not of this world. They live and breathe from a level of consciousness that is deeply aligned with universal truth, and as such, their energy is a key. Your soul is the lock. And when the two meet, something ancient unlocks inside of you, a rush of clarity, a pulse of recognition, a wave of remembering that shakes you free from the chains of illusion. These are not small moments. They are life-altering. You may feel as if a fog has lifted, as if the veil between the seen and the unseen has parted, and suddenly you're standing face to face with your own infinite potential. And that's exactly what's happening. You see, chosen ones are not here to impress you, they are here to activate you. Their vibration carries codes, not of control, but of liberation. These codes are not something they consciously transmit, they are embodied. Their presence itself is the message. When they look at you, it's not with judgment or comparison. It's as if they're looking through your skin, through your story, straight into the core of your being, and in that gaze, you see yourself. Not your fears, not your failures, but your essence. The part of you that is timeless, powerful, unbreakable. And this is where the energy transfer begins, not with words, but with presence. Presence is the portal. When you're in the field of a chosen one, you are immersed in their energy signature. And if you are open, if your heart is even slightly willing, you begin to absorb it. This is not about worship or dependence. It is about resonance. Their frequency calls forth your frequency. Their clarity highlights your confusion. Their peace exposes your chaos. And through this contrast, you are invited into a higher alignment. You feel it in your body, a tingling, a heat, a sensation that something is happening, even if you can't explain it. Your breath deepens, your mind quiets, your intuition sharpens. This is the recalibration of your vibration. But there's a deeper layer to this. True chosen ones are mirrors, not just of who you are, but of who you could be. They reflect back the potential you've buried under years of conditioning, fear, and conformity. And when you witness that potential mirrored so clearly, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to pretending you are less. The energy transfer is not just about healing, it's about awakening. About remembering that you are also chosen not by some external force, but by your own soul before time began. Chosen to awaken now, chosen to serve, chosen to rise. Let me ask you something so deep that it may shake the foundations of your identity. If you could feel, right now, the full magnitude of your power, how would your life change? What would you stop fearing? What would you start creating? What would you allow yourself to become? That feeling, that vision, that's what the energy transfer unlocks. You begin to access your own hidden powers. Not borrowed, not imitated, yours. Intuition becomes clearer. You start knowing things without knowing how. Old dreams become vivid, prophetic even. Your body heals faster. Your creativity explodes. You start attracting people, opportunities, and synchronicities at a pace that feels supernatural. Why? Because your vibration is no longer operating from limitation, it's operating from truth. One of the most profound hidden powers that activates in this energy exchange is discernment. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop engaging in relationships, jobs, and patterns that do not serve your soul. You begin to feel what is aligned and what is not. This clarity is power, and it leads you to live with intention, purpose, and courage. That's the gift of the chosen one's energy. It wakes you up from the trance of mediocrity. Another power that awakens is presence, the ability to anchor yourself fully in the now. This seems simple, but it is rare. Most people are trapped in the past or anxious about the future. But in the now, your power lives. And the chosen one lives in the now. Their energy pulls you into that state where miracles occur. You begin to experience time differently. You feel the richness of each moment. Life becomes alive. Colors seem brighter, sounds clearer. You stop rushing. You start being. And then, the most sacred power awakens: love. Not the conditional love that depends on approval or performance, but the love that is. The love that sees and honors all. When you meet a chosen one, their love for life, for truth, for you, it's palpable. And it shows you that this love is not something you earn, it's something you are. This changes everything. Because once you love yourself from that space, you stop betraying yourself. You stop shrinking. You start living from your soul. Here's something that may surprise you. Sometimes, after meeting a chosen one, your life may temporarily feel chaotic. Things fall apart. Relationships end. Old emotions rise. This is the activation. Their energy doesn't allow your old life to remain intact. It shakes the false foundations so that the truth can emerge. This is not destruction, it's liberation. And it's necessary. The energy transfer initiates a cleansing. You may cry, rage, question everything. Good. That means it's working. Trust it. Move through it. On the other side is freedom. I want you to understand this. The chosen one is not outside of you. Yes, you may meet them in another, but they awaken the chosen one within you. That's the true energy transfer. Not to make you a follower, but to make you a leader of your own life. Their vibration sparks your remembrance. Their fire ignites yours. Their wisdom activates your own. You were never meant to stay a seeker. You are meant to become. So, what happens after the meeting, after the transfer? You are faced with a choice. The knowledge, the energy, the awareness, they are now yours. What will you do with them? Will you return to sleep, or will you awaken fully? This is the initiation, and no one can take it for you. You have to decide. Let me ask you one final, soul-shaking question. If you knew, without doubt, that you were chosen to awaken now, and that everything you've ever experienced was preparing you for this, how would you live from this moment on? The chosen one has appeared in your life for a reason. Not to lead you, but to show you that you are ready to lead yourself. Your vibration has changed. Your soul is calling. Will you answer? Will you answer?